So as you come into your space, find your way to settle in with ideally something underneath your sitting bones, just for that little bit of height, that little bit of comfort, that bit of support to settle in. Finding that most comfortable position for the legs where the spine can be tall and supported, where the hands can just find somewhere comfortable to rest. You might start to arrive in this place with a big exhale. Just coming from whatever's happened for you today, creating these little transition rituals that put us in really good stead to kind of get into a headspace where we can be at least a little bit more present. The thoughts and things from our day will definitely still arrive from time to time, but can we just create a bit of a buffer between whatever's been happening for us today and then this yoga time and space together? And so for our session together today, we're going to continue this idea of building from the bottom up. And so let's start at the bottom. I invite you just to connect in with all of the points of contact between your body and whatever's underneath you. Feeling into that solid support through the feet, the legs, the sitting bones, the bottom. With a couple of out breaths, can we perhaps feel a sense of letting go into those points of contact? Can we let ourselves just sink a little bit more, become a little bit heavier here? And then starting to feel kind of the supportive structures of the legs, of the hips, the pelvis, the low belly, the low back. There's these really strong, stabilizing parts of the body that have carried us through our day so far. You might notice tightness or tension there. You might notice parts of that area of the body that are feeling pretty good. Just notice it as it is. And then as we work our awareness up through the torso, just noticing the chest and the upper back, can we create a sense of containment, a sense of supporting ourselves up tall? But also a sense of ease here. Perhaps as we tune into these next few breaths, can we feel a little of that flow as we breathe in, the body just expanding gently? As we breathe out, a bit of a softening in, but still with that essence of containment, of support here. And then bringing our awareness up to the neck, the shoulders, working our way down the arms. Again, noticing tightness or tension, any awareness of muscles through the arms that you have. Not to judge it or to change it, just to notice it as it is. And then bring that awareness back up through the arms, through the neck, around the jaw, through the face and the crown of the head. Just a little bit of a body scan to start us off here today. And we're going to continue this bottom-up series to work from our shoulders up to our crown and out to our fingertips. So the head, the neck, the shoulders, the arms. And bring our awareness there, whilst also reminding ourselves that the whole body works in concert, in unison with itself. So we're still using these other elements that we've been tuning into in other weeks. So when you feel ready, let's find some seated cat and cows. You might bring your hands just gently onto your knees. We can inhale to sit up tall. Exhale, easing the spine away behind as we tuck the chin, and perhaps use the hands a little here on the knees to pull some length into the spine. And then breathing in, can we come forwards the other way, creating space through the chest and the belly, drawing the heart forwards as the shoulder blades squeeze together. So working back and forth in time with your own breath. Our exhale can take us back a little more. Our inhale can draw us forwards. Tuning in, if you need to start off really small, I really encourage you to do so, particularly if you've spent a lot of time sitting today. And then when you're ready, when you sort of felt into that movement a few times, if it's feeling pretty good, let's bring the arms in as well. So as we exhale, you might like to wheel your hands around back, so the hands together reaching out in front. And then inhale as the heart draws forwards, bring the hands, palms facing forwards, just back near the shoulders, drawing the elbows away behind. So exhale, some kind of rounding and reaching. And inhale, some kind of pulling back of the arms. And so I really invite you to make this whatever you need here. You can make it a lot smaller and closer to the body. You can really reach and stretch. Can we find a sense of flow in the movement with the flow of our breath? Just taking your time, easing through a couple more times, really feeling the way that the arms and the shoulders are moving, perhaps the neck a little as well, as we tuck the chin a little more as we round back and raise the chin just a little as we draw forwards. Let's take one more full round with your breath in whatever way is working for you here. Beautiful. Let's bring the arms down, just touching back down, and we'll bring a little rotation through the neck. So just drawing the gaze to one side of your space and around to the other. Again, we don't have to go straight out to the sides if it works better to move, like say between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Just keeping it comfortable for the neck. And this is our sort of least loaded version of this movement. We're going to come into this movement in some other positions. But while we're stacked like this, while the crown of the head is sort of over the top of the spine, there's not a whole lot of excess load on the neck. So just feeling into it from this point first might help you work out, is today a day where you can move your neck a little more? Is there any stiffness or tightness there? And then coming to center, let's touch down with the left hand, reaching our right arm up and over. So you might reach it straight up towards the ceiling. You might bend a little into the left elbow to bring it a little further over. And then if it's comfortable for you here, let's do that same movement, looking down towards the bottom hand and up towards the top hand. Again, we don't have to go all the way, but that's just sort of the two directions we're moving between. And now that we've changed the angle of the neck, does it change anything for you here? If it feels pinchy or tight, you might want to bend that top elbow away from the neck, create a little more space. You might want to make that movement smaller, adapt it to what you need. Let's do one more in each direction. And then gently bringing ourselves back upright. Let's touch down with the right hand, coming up with the left, maybe a little over. Again, once you've found yourself in a comfortable side bend, how does it feel to bring in that movement through the neck, that rotation backwards and forwards to that comfortable degree for you? Check you're still breathing with that movement. Let's go one or two more times, just gently through that rotation. And then coming back to center with the gaze, to center with the body. And this time, let's bring that chin down towards the chest. And we're going to just bring the chin over towards one shoulder and then around towards the other. So it's like the chin sort of following a scoop line of the neck of your t-shirt, just gently sort of making semicircles across your upper chest. And then coming back to center, let's bring the head up. This time we're going to go ear towards one shoulder, left ear towards left shoulder, gently up and over, right ear towards right shoulder, making sure you can breathe as it goes back and forth. And you could stay with this moving version, or if you're up for a little hold, we could pause with the left ear towards the left shoulder, just walking the right fingertips a little further away from the body. Or if, like me, you're struggling to reach, you could even just let the fingertips float in space away from the body, hopefully to bring a really nice amount of stretch down the right-hand side of the neck, maybe creeping around over to the upper right shoulder. We want it to feel good, so change the angle of the neck if you need. Bring that hand a little closer to the body if you need. Let's stay for one more breath, wherever is working for you. And then gently supporting ourselves up, and we can do the same on the other side, right ear towards right shoulder. Find that depth that feels okay for the neck, and then maybe creeping the left fingertips away. They might stay in contact with the floor or lift up a little. Using that extension of the arm here just to give a little bit more stretch. And then touching back down with the fingertips coming towards the body, bring the head upright. Let's find our way over to hands and knees. Finding yourself with wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, fingers spread wide. You can add extra padding under the knees anytime you need. Long through the spine here. So can we imagine the crown of the head drawing towards the wall in front of us and the tailbone drawing towards the wall behind us? That bit of a lift and a wrap through the muscles around the sides of the ribs and the abdominals. And then from here, can we come into that neck movement again? So just gently taking your gaze over to one side of the room and then back to the other. Again, a different loading, a different sort of requirement on the neck. Just checking with how that feels. And then we're going to come back to neutral and we're going to add a twisting movement with the arm. So grounding through the left hand. Let's inhale the right hand out and up, maybe following the hand with your gaze. Exhale, bending into the left elbow just a little as we slide the right hand between the left hand and the left knee. So we inhale to lift out and open up. Exhale to cross through underneath, lowering that right shoulder towards the floor. Taking a couple more, however big or small you need. Can you feel that movement of the arm, the shoulder? And then again, you could stay with the moving version, or if you're ready for a hold, as we slide that right hand underneath the body, can we lower down onto the back of the arm and the shoulder, the right side of the head? And there's lots of different options we can take with the left hand once we arrive. So you could walk the left fingertips away overhead. You might want to leave it right where it is, underneath the left shoulder. You might want to lift the left hand up towards the ceiling, or you might want to wrap it around behind your back to the right side of the hip. From wherever you are, can we find some gentle pressure into the arm that's in contact with the floor? Just gently peeling the heart open towards the left. One more breath wherever you are, whatever version is working for you here. Then let's unravel, bringing that left hand back under the left shoulder and pressing, supporting ourselves back upright. You want to take a little cat and cow or some circles here, just a breath or two to feel into the back of the body. And then let's reset for the other side, right hand planted firmly. Both legs staying as stable as they can as we inhale the left arm out and open. Exhale, threading it through and lowering down a little towards the floor. We don't have to go all the way down each time. Feel into what feels good and right for your body. Maybe you want to follow that moving hand with your gaze. Bring that neck rotation in as well as the chest, the shoulder rotation. Beautiful. Taking 2 or 3 more with your breath. Inhale, creating that space across the chest. Exhale, coming back down towards the earth. And when you're ready, if you'd like to, we can set up for that hold on this side. That slide through and release down towards the floor, coming down with the left arm and shoulder. Some people find it really hard for the head to reach the floor. If that's you could always add a pillow, a folded up jumper, or a block underneath your head if you need it here. And then find that best place for the right hand, whether it stays right where it is or it slides away overhead along the floor. Maybe it lifts up towards the ceiling behind you or wraps over around your back towards the left outer hip. Perhaps as we breathe here, it feels a little more constricted with that contact between the belly and the legs. Where can we find that additional space with the breath? Maybe in the side of the ribs. Maybe a little more in the right side of the chest. And when you're ready, let's inhale, unraveling that right hand, supporting ourselves back up here. Beautiful work. And then before we come up to our first downward dog, let's have a play with hand positions here. So using a stepping motion with your 2 hands, just changing the direction of the fingers. How does it feel to walk them around, pointing out away from you? Maybe you want to turn the fingers around towards each other, just a few steps backwards and forwards, feeling into different versions of that movement. If you find a place that feels like a really nice place to stay for a stretch, perhaps even with the fingers pointing back towards your knees, sometimes that can bring a really nice amount of stretch through the inside of the wrist and the forearm. Just feel free to stay for a breath or 2, or you can keep it pedaling, whatever feels better for you. And gently turning around with the hands so the index or the middle finger are pointing straight ahead. And then let's find our downward dog, tucking our toes under, really pressing the hips high here. Strong through the hands. Can we ground through the fingertips, through the heel of the palm, through the base of each finger. Strong through the arms. And as we push the floor strongly away, just noticing what happens with the inside of the elbows. Do they feel as if they want to spin around to face out in front of you? Do they feel as if they want to turn towards each other? Feel into the shoulders. See what naturally happens in your body as you press away strongly through the hands. And maybe while we're here, we can relax the head. See if we can let go of any tightness or tension in the jaw. You might even do a little nod yes, just a gentle forwards and backwards movement with relaxed neck, relaxed head. And then maybe a little bit of a no movement, a gentle side to side. Again, really relax through the head and the neck. And then let's see if we can transition that strength through the hands as we walk the hands back towards the feet. Turning it into our forward fold, feet coming flat, belly and thighs meeting together here. And if it still suits you to be upside down, we can stay a little longer. If it's right for you to gently make your way upright, you can definitely do that at any stage. But again, with a relaxed head, can we do a little nod? Yes, just gently forwards and backwards. You might notice some of the muscles in the upper back down through the shoulder blades lighting up a little with that movement. Maybe a little no here. And then that slow, steady rise. Let's soften through the knees, tucking the tailbone. Arms could stay hanging heavy or walk up the body as we curl up and bring each part of the spine into place. From the back of the hips up through the lower back, the middle back, the upper back, and then the neck and shoulders finding their way back upright, maybe with a roll as we arrive, creating a bit more space across the collarbones here, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And let's come up to the front of our space, finding our way into our mountain pose, feet a comfortable distance apart, making sure there's some room behind you. I'll keep changing angles, but finding that place that works for you in your space, softening in the knees. And let's continue that build from the bottom up. So that lift of the inner arches of the rest of the foot. Perhaps a bit of a lift and rise through the kneecaps, through the inner legs. Slight lengthening down of the tailbone. And you feel a bit of engagement, that wrapping sensation around the belly, around the ribs, tall through the spine. And they're really long and activated through the fingers. Can we imagine the fingers reaching down towards the floor, whether the palms are open in front or towards your body, whatever feels better. You could even move it backwards and forwards, see how it feels through the arms. You might notice as you change position that the whole arm rotates a little. The elbow changes direction slightly, maybe even changes the sensations across the chest. And then tall through the crown of the head here. And from here, we're going to bring a little arm flow, which we're going to keep revisiting through our salute to the sun. So taking our left hand, we're going to bring the palm of the left hand up just behind the head and the back of the right hand just to the lower back. So we've sort of gone from our mountain pose. We've brought one hand around to the head and the other sliding around towards the back. And then we're going to change directions. We're going to take the arms out wide. And they rotate so that the palm can touch the back of the head and the back of the hand comes to the low back. So have a play back and forth a few times. As always, you can keep it quite small and relaxed and close to the body, or you might want to really reach up and out and wide and keep the arms super active. And by the same token, as you come to touch, you can stay at the very base and the very top of the spine, or you can start to see if you can work the hands a little closer to each other along the spine. I don't have to touch by any means, but we're just using the rotation through our shoulders to make contact with the spine. Beautiful work. So we're going to come back to this movement in our lunge and in a prone position on the floor. Let's just do one more each side for now, though. Beautiful. And then let's release both arms and we'll reach all the way out and up, coming into that back bend position, palms forwards, hands shoulder width apart, lifting, pressing the floor away as we rise up, lifting the front of the body, inhaling here. And then exhale, let's fold, softening the knees, coming upright before we fold at the hips. Coming down, fingertips to the floor or the legs, a softness in the knees. And then from here, we can step the right foot straight back from where it is, sliding or stepping that right foot back, bringing the knee down. Let's find our low lunge here. So left knee over left ankle, really strong and connected through that front foot, through the back lower leg. If it works for you to come up onto the thigh, let's do that now. If you're wanting to stay down, this next movement you could just do with the right hand. If you're upright, let's bring both hands back in that same movement, just that connection at the top and the base of the spine, and then that rotation around. Taking a few times with your breath, see if you can find a steady rhythm that works for you. Keeping that strength and stability through the feet, keeping that height through the spine, all the other kind of regions of the body supporting this movement. And then the next time we wheel around with the right hand at the top, let's pause there and turn it into a side reach. So we can lift the right elbow as we take a tiny bit of a side bend here. So with that right hand lifting, we're just lifting it a little higher, a little tilt over, wanting to make sure you can still breathe there and it feels good. Can we take some bigger breaths into this right side of the lungs? Beautiful. Let's return back upright, releasing the hands, and we'll step ourselves back to plank. Coming back, shoulders stacked over wrists, knees down. You could lift them if that's where you want to be today, but really pressing the floor away. Can we feel the way the shoulder blades kind of ease away from each other, creating space in the upper back? Can we breathe into this strength, this connection through the hands? And taking one more breath here. Beautiful work. Let's tuck the toes and draw the hips back, pulling the arms a bit long here. Bit of an extended child's pose version, a bit of a reach and a pull through the arms, the shoulders. And then we can do that scooping movement forward. So pulling from the hands, bending the elbows a little, we can scoop the heart forwards with a little back bend. As we come back towards our plank, we can arch up more towards that cat type position and then draw the hips back towards the heels. So create a little cycle for ourselves here, bending the elbows, pulling the heart through with the strength from the hands, pushing the floor away to arch up and away and coming back. So taking a few flows through that sequence, as big or as small as you need. It doesn't have to be super exaggerated. Really tune in, look after the spine here. Beautiful. And then we'll make our transition down to Sphinx pose. So if you've done this transition before, head there in your own time. If you want to give it a try with me, we bring the forearms down to the mat in this child's pose type position. This time as we scoop the heart forward, we're actually going to slide the forearms with us. So the whole upper body slides forwards. And then we get to that point where we can bring the front of the hips down. Now, if that didn't work for you, another option is to come over into our plank pose and then walk the hands out and the elbows down from there. And then we're going to bring the forehead down towards the floor, seeing if we can gently connect through the forehead with a slight tuck of the chin and some length in the back of the neck. So rather than kind of crunching the back of the neck to look forwards, we want to look straight down and touch the forehead just gently onto the floor. And this next movement, let's start with one arm, but you can add in the second arm when you feel ready. So with the right hand, let's come through that sequence of the back of the hand to the lower back, and then sweeping it around and out so the palm can come just behind the head and neck. So we're cycling through here, checking in with your breath. If you'd like to add in the second arm, you can. If one arm is working for you, I'll let you know when it's a good point to change sides. And with that connection through the head, can we lift and engage the belly and the lower ribs away from the floor? As we spoke about a few weeks ago now, imagining there's sort of a cold 5-cent piece underneath your belly button. Sort of get a sense of what it feels like, that lift, that engage away. You might feel the glutes engaged too. If you're wanting to do the other side, just change over to that left hand when you're ready. Back of the hand to lower back. Palm to the head. If this is feeling like a lot, stay right here or ease back as you need. If you're looking for more still, you could lift the forehead, lift the upper chest just slightly away from the floor anchoring through the front of the hips, and then see if you can wheel that cycle through the shoulders from there with that little bit of a lift. Try not to put too much downward pressure on the head and the neck with that top hand. Making sure you can breathe. Let's take 2 more breaths with whichever version is working for you here. There's a lot of layers that you can move between to find what's right for you. And then releasing the hands, let's bring the head down. Oh, releasing perhaps with a sigh here. And you might even like to rock your forehead just across from one side to the other again, that same side to side movement for the neck, but this time supported from the front of the head, noticing how that feels. And then from here, we can gently make our way to downward dog. So bringing hands under shoulders, we can support ourselves back up. Either going straight to downward dog or finding hands and knees first. As you come into your downward dog, taking any movements that feel good to settle here, whether you want to pedal through the legs or come back to some of those gentle head movements we were making before. Finding a way to tap into that strength through the upper body, really pushing the floor away, pressing the tailbone away to the top of the wall behind you. And then when you're ready, let's step that right foot up between the hands, however you want to get there. Whether you want to take a big sweeping step, you can bring the left knee down and help it along. Come into our low lunge, right foot forwards, left knee planted. And again, you can stay in this position and just work with the left side, or you can come upright. Either way, let's really anchor through both feet. And then find that rotating movement through the shoulders, through the arms, long spine, whether you're upright or tilting forwards. Perhaps if you were, as we were doing this on the floor a moment ago, noticing any differences in the sensation here. Perhaps the load feels a little less now we're upright again. And then again, if you're upright, the next time that left hand comes on top, let's find that little bit of a left lift through the left elbow. A bit of a side stretch here, feeling space through the left side of the ribs, through the lungs. Can we breathe extra space into that left side of the body? Whilst also keeping our balance, that strong, stable feet. And then upright, let's plant the hands, bringing that back leg forwards, back to our forward fold. Feet about hip width, comfy through the belly and the legs here, supporting each other. And maybe here you could take any of those normal options that we explore. You might want to bring the palms around towards the calves. As we wrap the arms around behind the legs, can we feel the shoulder blades just easing away from the middle of the spine, maybe breathing some extra space into the upper back. You could even interlace your hands or hold opposite hands or wrists behind your legs if you feel like there's space there. And let's release and come up to stand, releasing the hands of softness through the knees. As we slowly uncurl, peeling ourselves up. Again, arriving upright with perhaps a roll, or settling through the shoulders, through the arms, lengthening down towards the floor. Maybe pausing with the eyes closed if that works for you today, or just finding a gentle place to rest your gaze. And perhaps for these next few breaths, just noticing, acknowledging, finding gratitude for everything that our shoulders, our arms, our hands have allowed us to do today. From the small everyday movements to the things that show care and compassion to others. Just breathing into the lengths of the arms for a few moments here. Beautiful. And then let's just squeeze and release. If you want to take the legs a little wide and take some of those standing spins, it can be a great option after a lot of focus, a lot of intensity through the upper chest, the shoulders, the arms, just letting them be really floppy and loose here. Beautiful. Alrighty, let's find our way into goddess pose when you're ready. So stepping wide in your space, turning the toes out so that when we bend into our squat, the legs are going to track in the same direction as the feet. So adjusting as you need to. Really anchoring strong through the feet here. And then let's find our hold first of all. So drawing the tailbone down towards the floor, bending into the legs any amount. Really anchoring through the feet. We can adjust up or down as we go. We're going to find our flow in a moment, but see if we can set up with a really solid foundation so that each time we're coming in and out, we're doing so with really good posture for the spine. The spine's really tall and neutral, the tailbone pointing down towards the floor. Then let's find our flow here. So we can inhale, sweeping the arms out and up, palms to touch, and then coming back down through center. Find that depth that works for you here. So inhale to reach out and up. And exhale, coming down. And let's use this reach. Let's use the extremities, the tips of our fingers here to take up as much space as possible. Really sweeping wide. You can find that beautiful flowing rhythm and then gather it all together and come back to the heart. I invite you to just find that own rhythm with your breath. It might be a little faster, a little slower. Taking your time here. Beautiful. Let's take one more time through and then we'll pause at that bottom point of our goddess squat. Pausing down here. See if we can anchor through both feet. You might feel the outer hips, the glutes engage. So the palms just connect with each other. See if you can feel length from one elbow to the other. And then let's release the hands to the inner side of the legs or the upper inner legs. So it's like we've got the palms on top, the fingers wrapping in. You can stay quite upright and have the hands really close to the hips. Or with that same long spine, we can tilt forwards and bring the hands a little closer to the knees or anywhere in between. This one's a really great one to just slide as far as you would like. You can adjust up or down anytime you need. And then let's straighten the left elbow, pointing this left shoulder over towards the right knee, any amount. So we're just bringing a little bit of a twist, a little bit of rotation here. We want to be able to breathe and taking the gaze roughly over the right shoulder, making sure it feels good. So whether you're quite upright and you're pushing around that way, or you're down really low, pushing around, or anywhere in between, long spine, gentle twist here. Staying for one more breath wherever you're comfortable. And then let's inhale to gently release to center. Exhale, finding the other side. Right arm pushing straight as the elbow gently draws over towards the left knee. Perhaps taking the gaze over the left shoulder if that feels okay for the neck. Just breathing into the sensation here, that support from the right arm, right hand in particular. One more full breath where you are. And let's gently unravel ourselves. Coming back up to center. Walk the feet back in here. Beautiful. And we're going to come into a little bit of a sweeping movement. We're going to have 2 rounds or 2 goes at this tonight. So as we inhale, we can rise up off the heels any amount and bring the arms overhead. As we exhale, we can ground down through the feet, bend the knees and sweep ourselves down towards a forward fold. So we want to make sure the belly connects with the thighs so that the back's supported. And then inhale, we use that momentum of the arms to sweep us back up, maybe lifting the heels again. So exhale, big sweep down, inhale to lift and rise up. It's quite a dynamic movement. Have a few goes, see how it feels for you. If you have blood pressure issues or you find it makes you feel a bit dizzy, feel free to come upright and just do the arms. Can you just sweep the arms down and come back up? You might drop the heels still with soft knees and come up from there. If that full fold feels a little much today, that's completely okay. Find a way to make it work for you. Beautiful. Coming through 1 or 2 more times. And then when you're ready, as you rise up that last time, just bring the heels down, letting the arms let go. And we'll come back to that movement after our next standing sequence. So just another way to find that release. There's lots of different ways. Sometimes we use the standing spin. They're all just extra tools in the toolkit. And if that one isn't right for you today, come back to one of those other ones that does feel good. But just keep it in the back of your mind. It might be the perfect thing for after a Zoom meeting, after something. You know, you just need that bit of energetic let go, that bit of release. So let's find our way to the front of our space again. And we're going to come into a knee lift. So let's ground through the right leg, bringing the left knee forwards, toes can touch, all the knee can lift. And then let's tilt the body forwards and tap the toes behind. Maybe they do tap actually, and maybe they stay lifted, up to you. So we inhale, bringing ourselves upright, knee forwards. Exhale, tilting forwards with the leg extending back. Toes can touch at either or both ends. Make it whatever you need here. And then we can add the arms in as well if it works for you. So as we lift the knee, we can lift the arms overhead. We can gently, with control this time, sweep the arms through and extend them along beside the body. It's like it's an extension of the spine. I think a couple more goes through. Again, you can leave the arms out of it. You can touch the toes down. And then the next time you come back, let's step all the way back and share the weight between both feet. We're going to turn it into our warrior two. So this left foot that's stepped back is going to spin around to the side. The chest and the front of the hips turn open to the left. So we've got this front knee over the ankle. And then finding a strong stance here. Can you push down through both feet? Or maybe even imagine you're trying to slide them away from each other. Feel the way the hips really stabilize and support. When you're ready, we can bring the arms out, bringing the gaze over the right fingertips, really extending long, as if you're trying to touch opposite sides of the room with equal effort. And then let's have a go at rotating the arms. So can we inhale, turn the palms up, and exhale to point the thumbs down, rotating through. You might watch that right hand as it rotates through. And perhaps watching the forearm, the elbow, the upper arm, the way that rotation comes all the way up to the shoulder joint, just by focusing on moving the palm. You can release the palms, release the arms down, have a break anytime you need. We'll just take a couple more times through. And then when you're ready, let's release that back hand down to the extended leg and reach up tall with the front hand, finding our exalted warrior. Can we sink into that bending knee to really anchor the hips so we can lift and rise up through the side of the body and out through the fingertips? Inhaling here. Exhale, we're going to bring ourselves forwards and down to side angles. So you could touch down with the hand or with the forearm, reaching that top arm long over the ear. So using the base, inhale, let's drive out and up, finding our exalted warrior. Exhale, coming forwards and down. So taking that cycle through with your breath. And it's a really nice option to keep touching down at either end. It helps provide some support for the torso, a bit of anchoring. If you would like to, though, we do have the option of finding that same arm option. So the top hand wheeling around to the back of the head, the bottom arm to the lower back, and reaching up with the elbow rather than the fingertips. Just an option to play with if you like. Inhale, releasing up to our exalted warrior. Exhale, tilting forwards towards that front leg for our side angle. Either option, finding what is right for you. And you could even do a half movement. You could bring the top hand to the back of the head, but the bottom hand still touching down. Don't be afraid to play around with it if you'd like to. I'm curious about the sensations and how it feels in this version. Let's take it one more time through, and we'll pause at our side angle. So whatever option's right for you, I recommend touching down with the bottom hand, either with the hand to the thigh or the forearm to the thigh. And one more time, let's take that neck rotation, gently bringing the gaze down towards the front foot and lifting forwards, out and up towards the top arm again, To whatever degree in those directions feels good for you here. Strong, stable base, long through that top side of the body. This gentle supported rotation of the neck. Let's take one more time, whatever degree is working for you. And then driving out of that front foot, let's come upright and we'll bring that back leg in as well. A bit of a pedal, a release, a spin. If you want to take a couple of those big lifts and sweeps, you can. We'll come to it after both sides. So if you want to do it in between as well, great option. Make whatever you need here. Beautiful. After a couple of goes through that, a couple of spins or releases, let's come to the other side. Anchoring through the left foot this time. Right toes coming forwards, finding that knee lift, whatever degree works for you. Tilting forwards, let's extend the right foot behind, either tapping the toes or lifting. Working between upright spine and tilting forwards long through the spine. Maybe adding the arms in as well as we come into our knee lift, bring the arms upright. Controlled rotation down beside the hips with the arm taking a few rounds through, finding that version that works for you here. And then when you're ready, the next time we step that right foot back, let's share the weight, big step back, touching down with the foot. And let's come straight into our warrior two. So that back foot spins open, chest open to the right this time. Checking in that that left knee stays anchored over the ankle. We don't want it creeping away to the right. When you're ready, can we expand our wings out wide, really reaching across that wingspan, fingertip to fingertip. Maybe you bring your gaze to the left fingertips here. When you're strong and stable, you've got that support through the feet. Can we bring in that rotation? Inhale, palms rotating up. Exhale, thumbs coming around and down. And it doesn't have to come all the way around by any means. Check in with what feels right for your body. And can you notice with a bit of curiosity, with some openness, what that rotation looks like, what it feels like from the inside? Really notice those sensations. Let's take one more here. Turning up again, let's find our exalted warrior. Back hand to back leg, front arm reaching high, really lifting out and up for that hip. Inhale here. Exhale, coming forwards and down, finding side angle with the hand, with the forearm. So coming through in your own time with your own breath. And again, that option, if you'd like to play with those same arms we had before. Top hand could come to the top of the spine, the bottom hand to the bottom of the spine, only if it feels good for the arms and the shoulders, supportive for the spine here. If you are taking that option, how can we lift and lead with the elbow here, creating that length in the side of the body? Beautiful work. The next time we come over and down to our side angle, let's anchor there, that top hand coming to the thigh or forearm to the thigh, top arm long over the ear, and then that gentle rotation through the neck towards the floor gently, towards the ceiling gently. If you find you need a little more space, feel free to bring that top hand up towards the ceiling or all the way down to the hip. Create that little bit of extra space if you feel like you need it. One more full rotation through. And then gently drawing our weight through that front leg to bring us upright. Let's step around and up to the front. You need a wiggle or a roll first, feel free. And then we've got the option of coming back into that big rise and flop. So we can inhale, heels lifting, hands lifting. Exhale, anchoring down, sweeping down to forward fold, and inhale to sweep back up, using the momentum of the movement. Beautiful, making sure the belly, the lower ribs touch down on the legs for that bit of support. One or two more times through. And then just releasing down with the hands and the heels. Beautiful work, everyone. All right, we're going to make our way down onto our backs. So you can come through a gentle roll down with me or just make your own way down. If you're up for the roll down, let's start with tall spine, soft knees, tucking the tailbone as we bring the chin to the chest. That slow release through the neck, the upper back. Softening the knees as we curl down through the middle and lower back. Reaching the fingertips to the floor and then walking the hands out. Supporting the knees down. And then coming all the way around onto our sitting bones and down onto our back. You're going to head all the way down. As you're ready, you might like to draw the knees in towards the chest as you arrive, maybe a squeeze and release or rock side to side. Just a nice way to anchor into the back. Beautiful. Lovely work. We're going to have a go at reclining eagle pose. We did eagle pose a few weeks ago. It's a quite tricky balancing pose when we're standing, but it also has a lot to offer us when we're lying down. So to start, let's bring the left foot down to the floor and then cross the right leg up and over. So hugging the thighs together here. You can stay here with the legs with that left foot planted. We're going to bring the arms into it and then maybe change the legs if you want to. So we can reach the arms out wide across the floor. And then let's bring the left arm underneath the right, crossing the arms over and bringing maybe the hands towards the shoulders. Maybe we bring the backs of the hands together, or maybe we wrap all the way around to the palms. Any of those options are great. And we're just going to lift the elbows up towards the ceiling while we kind of snuggle them in together here. So both elbows are really squished in towards each other, nice and snug, but we're lifting the elbows from any of those options up towards the ceiling. You can stay right here with the legs with that left foot planted, or you could lift both legs and try and stack the knees over the hips. So we're going to inhale to draw the elbows and the knees a little away from each other. And exhale, squeeze them in towards each other a little. They don't have to touch by any means. So we can inhale to draw them away. Exhale to squeeze them in. If you have that left foot planted, you can either just work with the elbows, inhale to lift. Exhale to squeeze the elbows down towards the belly button. Or if you're looking to bring the legs into it, we can inhale, just plant the foot. Exhale, lift and squeeze the knees towards each other. But then as we inhale, bringing the foot back down. So a few different options to play with here. The spine is hopefully feeling really long and supported. Giving us the chance to just explore this movement through the core. And we want to make sure that the spine stays neutral. If you feel like your back is overarching away from the floor, try making the movement smaller or bringing that foot down and just working with the elbows. So you want to stay contained and supported through the torso. Let's take one more here. Then we're going to release the legs only. So we're going to see if we can keep the arms where they are as we uncross both legs, bringing the feet down. With the elbows snuggled in towards each other, just see if we can rotate both elbows a little over to the left, starting to peel the right shoulder blade away from the floor. And then coming back to center, back to neutral. And then elbows over to the right, just enough to start to feel the left shoulder peel away. And then coming back down. So it's a rotation through the upper part of the spine. This connection through the elbows and the hands helps the upper body stay connected and move as one. It's quite an unusual movement. So just take your time to feel into it. Make it smaller if you're not sure how you feel about it. And then as we come back to center, let's expand both arms out wide, palms facing up. Snuggle the shoulder blades in together underneath your upper back and just take a few breaths into that big expanse across the collarbones, the shoulders, the upper arms, all the way out to the palms and the fingers. Perhaps noticing if as the backs of the hands rest on the floor, there's this gentle, natural curl of the fingers. A breath or two here. Beautiful. And then let's cross the legs over the other way. So we can plant the right foot this time, crossing the left leg over. Let's keep that right foot planted while we set up the arms. Right arm underneath this time. Finding that option that works best for you. And it might be different to the other side. Anchoring the elbows in towards each other. Do you want the hands to opposite shoulders? Do you want the backs of the hands together or wrapping around to the front? And then deciding what you'd like to do for this next movement with the breath. So inhale, let's draw the elbows down towards the lower ribs, towards the belly. Inhale to lift and rise. Exhale, squeezing, and inhale, extending through the front of the body a little. You could keep that right foot planted, or you could start lifting. Exhale in, inhale to draw it back, or you could keep the knees lifted the whole time, or feet lifted the whole time rather. Exhale, squeezing towards each other, and inhale, creating space in the front of the body. Check in with the spine that it's not losing control and arching away from the floor. Making it smaller if you need. Finding that version for you for 2 more rounds here. And then let's touch back down with the right foot, leaving the arms as they are as we uncross the legs. And then again, that little bit of rotation here, both elbows just tilting over to sort of 11 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock as the shoulder peels away from the floor. Coming back to center and taking over to the other side. Just once or twice to each side, making sure it feels okay for the shoulder blade, for the upper back. The next time we return to center, can we expand out wide through the arms, really reaching away in opposite directions? Getting that little bit of holding space in the palms. Beautiful work. And then let's come over onto one side. If you happen to have something nearby that you could grab to pop under your head, that would be great. Otherwise, you can definitely use that bottom arm. We're going to come and settle onto one side with the knees and the hips stacked on top of each other. Seeing if we can create one long line through the feet, the hips, the shoulders, that bottom hand reaching away in front of you, and then the top hand coming on top. And if you happen to need that bottom arm to come underneath, just bring the top hand to the floor, straight out in front of your heart. And let's take that peeling twist. So inhale, drawing that top hand across the bottom arm or towards the body, over the chest and reaching away behind, whatever angle works for you. Exhale, coming up and over, back around onto your side. Inhale, sliding open. You might start to peel open with the gaze, with the chest towards the ceiling. Exhaling to come back. Perhaps noting how our hips, our legs, our feet, they stay pretty stable. They're our anchor here, allowing us to really draw ourselves into this twist to whatever degree feels good. And then return. And it's up to you. You're very welcome to stay with this moving version. If as you open up, it feels like a really lovely place to stay, feel free to stay in that open twist for a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, let's use our last inhale here. Our last exhale, bringing us up and over. And just taking a pause here on the side of your body, letting everything soften and sink towards the floor. When you're ready, we can gently make our way over to the other side, either just rolling over from where you are or coming up and over if you want to stay facing the same direction. setting up that support if you'd like, something underneath the head, that bottom arm, either underneath your head or reaching straight out in front. And that top hand coming down to rest either on the palm or on the floor if you need that bottom hand. Finding that twist when you're ready, anchoring through the legs, through the hips. And then inhale, let's twist, open, out, away. Exhale to return. And that smooth, steady breath. Again, if you'd like to stay flowing, please do. If you'd like to find a place to hold and stay, please do. Either way, can we use the flow of the breath here? One more inhale. And exhale, just gently releasing. Coming back onto your side and then pausing again. Everything softening, settling, anchoring. And when you're ready, you might like to gently make your way onto your back. As we start to settle in here towards relaxation, it might feel nice to bring the feet flat and let the knees rest in towards each other. And then just take a gentle rotation through the head. As we have been connecting with throughout, can we just roll the back of the head over to one side a little and back to the other? How does it feel this time to be supported through the back of the head? Perhaps allowing the back of the neck in particular to really soften and release. You allow that softness to spread through to the jaw. And then gently finding your way to your comfortable resting place. Whether you'd like to keep the feet flat or stretch them out long. Can feel lovely to add a proper support underneath the knees or bring a blanket on top. Just take your time to set up here. We'll have a couple of minutes here together and then I'll give you the option to stay longer if you'd like. So if you want to spend a little more time getting set up, that you can really be comfortable and warm and supported, please do. As you settle in, I invite you to draw a big, deep breath in. Letting go with a sigh. Perhaps as you take a couple more breaths like that, bringing your mind back to those big dynamic lifts with the inhale, reaching tall, expanding through the spine. And then that big sweep, swoosh to let go. Everything softening back down towards the earth. Inhale to tighten, expand, lift through the body. Exhale to let it all go. When you're ready to, we can release that effort with the breath and just come back to a natural, gentle breath here. For our focus, for our time in relaxation today, I invite you to bring your awareness to the breath. With each in-breath, drawing in the breath from the nose, the mouth, the crown of the head, down to the heart. With our exhale from the heart, can we feel that breath expand out to the fingertips, to the toes, just radiating out through the body. Inhale to channel that breath in and down to the heart. Exhale the breath radiating out in all directions. And allowing this breath to bring with it whatever you need here for these next few moments. Perhaps this breath brings a sense of deep rest and rejuvenation. Perhaps it brings awareness in this present moment, a tingling aliveness. Whatever you need here, I invite you to draw it in with your breath down to your heart. Letting it expand and fill you up all the way down to the fingers, the toes. And each time our thoughts take us off elsewhere into things that have already happened or things that might happen, we can gently notice and acknowledge those thoughts, those feelings, and shift our focus back to this breath, drawing in what we need. I invite you to stay here for as long as you have today. From my heart to yours, it's been a pleasure to practice with you. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you.